Hey, my friends, if you are watching this video, that means you are in a Kami context clues for reading, okay? Remember, context clues are used for when you don't know what a word means. So if I'm reading a book and I get to a word that I'm like, okay, I think that's how you say it. I might have heard it before, or I might not even know what exactly it is. I'm going to make sure that I use my context clues, like I'm going to remind you here, and that you're going to practice in these warm-ups to figure out what that word means, because you don't want to just keep on reading. You want to slow down and be that thinking reader, okay? So if you are listening to this video, the slide might look a little bit different because now that we kind of know how context clues works, we're going to kind of just keep practicing them throughout the weeks. So this video is just reminding you what to do on your slides, okay? So I'm going to go down to the slide here that reminds you of the help. Sorry, I'm moving my head out of the way. So this is the teaching slide. So I'm going to go over all of these because at this point you probably, with your teacher and in your class, you've probably learned all of these or at least gotten introduced to them. Okay, so the first one up here kind of underneath my head, sorry, is a glossary. Now that's not going to help you too much probably with a lot of your warm-ups, maybe later, but especially in nonfiction books, if I'm reading a word and it's bolded, really dark, and you're like, what does that word mean? Go to the end of your book and see if there's a glossary, because a glossary is kind of like a mini dictionary and it'll tell you what that word means. Okay. The second and the third one where I have the try it, that's the one that I love. Those are the two that I'm like, I start there usually first. Okay. The one that I start with a lot is reading around it, reading a little bit before and a little bit after, trying to get some good clues. And then once I have a good guess, plopping that guess into that and place that word. So taking that word I didn't know out, putting the word that I think it is in, and seeing if that makes sense, and it kind of helps me understand a little bit more. Okay, you've got signal words as well that you probably started talking about or have talked about with your class. Okay, those are kind of like the, hey, here comes the meaning of the word next. Okay, so if it has a word and then it says like, it might kind of tell you what comes next, or such as, it might tell you next what comes up. Prefixes and suffixes, I know we've talked about in classes already with your teacher. The prefixes come before a word and kind of is a little chunk that lets you know what that full word might mean, and suffixes are the same at the end. So like the word redo, like we all know, redo, that re is a prefix and it means again. So redo, do it again, okay? And same thing with suffixes, they're just at the end. Parentheses you might not have used as much depending on what you have needed in your class or maybe in your small groups. Parentheses is another kind of like a, psst, hey, here comes the meaning, okay? So it's almost like parentheses if you picture me in my head in between and kind of being like, hey, here's what it means, okay? So let's do a silly one. Like if I was writing or reading a story and it said beagle, and then a dog. Okay, that parentheses is trying to tell you, hey, this is what that word meant. So sometimes in books, there's a parentheses and the author kind of tells you, that's what it means. Okay, so those are all the ones that you're going to be using on your own now on your context clues. Again, your slides might look a little bit different. They might be a little bit of pirate talk coming up soon. There's going to be some pirate ones. So we could try to figure out if we were in a store with a pirate and they were telling us things, we could figure out what they mean. Okay, so just a quick reminder, when you get on these context clues, there's going to be something for you to read. Okay, so on this one, it's a purple box. Sometimes it's going to be a little pirate saying in there too, if it's a pirate ship in the background, and sometimes it's going to also be like actual text. So there's going to be a phone that you're going to be able to read. Okay, so on Kami, you should be able to, if you're reading this and you're like, it's too hard for me to read today to get those clues and think of it, then I'm going to use still that text to speech. Use that play button like my Kami tells me to do, and I can click on the word that I want it to read, and it's reading it to me. When I read it to stop it. Okay, and it was reading to me in that robotic voice. Sorry, I loved that part. But once you get to that part where you are reading yours on your own or reading it from text to speech, there's going to be a word in purple, or there's going to be a word that's underlined. Okay, some kind of word that's standing out that you have to figure out what that word means using those context clues. So if you were doing this one, it says, Sam was so hungry that he didn't leave a single particle of muffin on the plate. Okay, so as I was reading that, kind of, okay, Sam's really hungry. He's not leaving a single particle of muffin on the plate. Okay, so he's really hungry. All right, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to think like plate. If he's really hungry, I don't think it's about plate of a muffin, right? I could do that substitute and plate of a muffin. Okay, so I could even use my drawing tool as I go on and be like, okay. Piece. So hungry that he didn't leave a single piece. Ooh, I think that one's it, but I'm going to make sure, right? I can go with the other choices and kind of make sure. A single red of the muffin. Muffin can't be red. That kind of makes sense. Okay. Tasty muffin. Ooh, okay. So it could be tasty. So I'm going to see which one makes more sense. Piece versus tasty. Sam was so hungry that he didn't leave a single tasty of the muffin on the plate. No, I think it's piece. So when I get to my one that I'm like, that's definitely it, I'm going to use my drawing tool and I'm going to circle or show somehow to my teacher that that's the one I think. Okay. So make sure that you do all of the slides that you have for the day. Okay. There's more on this one. There's usually 2 or 3. And again, if the background looks different, like a pirate ship, okay, or something different, remember you read or let Cami read it to you. Okay. Figure out that word that's either bolded or underlined, and then see which one makes sense for the meaning of the word. All right. See you next time.